Shelby's little girl, she's getting big.
Now, how old is it?
She's
You don't want to repeat what you said, you don't want to.
But what is her name?
Ellie.
I get paid to tell them all. I don't even know them now.
Got
right?
both feet.
How do you know?
Look, and Andy is Mexican, Ellie, Shelby.
Yeah, wow.
You might be mad.
I saw some pictures of hugging Andy.
Oh, Tim Ford and I.
He's his name.
Boy, you probably got the worst he
That's
got.
okay. Andy, that's right.
Andy, I N D I E.
Okay, guys.
That's cute.
He had a room.
I make a
Six o'clock, we need to get started. Miss Amy passed out to you, budget finance members. I'm assuming this is the new, as it is, or it's not as it needs to become, but as it is, as it is. If you had a chance to look at it, and I just barely have, but I talked to the mayor today, a penny, which happened today, brings in $24,989. The new tax rate,
Try again, 24.
$24,989. The new tax rate, with that being said, is $2.43, should be 2.4388. I know you haven't had time to look at this, neither have I. But if you'll turn back to about 2/3 of the way back, that's where the schools is. Way in the back. I believe we're supposed to start outside the field first tonight, aren't we? You ready to go?
It's your time.
Here you go.
The pages aren't numbered, it's just about 2/3 back.
We want Amy.
I have
Page one.
for district.
Sit, stand, whatever you want. Whatever makes the most comfortable.
Mr. Kerr is passing out that handout, I'll let you get that continued. I don't know exactly what you have in your hand. I know we have presented a budget to the mayor. I don't know, I don't know what you have in your hand, is what I'm saying. And I did not bring our budget tonight.
I'm having terrible flashbacks.
There's no red bars on it, Johnny.
I never think read it. I never liked it when that mine was always flooded. Commissioner that doesn't have one? Got one?
I don't.
Steve? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. I thought you were first. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, it's a lot.
All right, everybody got a handout there?
Okay, you ready then?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll try to move as quickly as I can and not bore you. The first thing there on that handout is just about, the quality of education in our school district. I was speaking with a group of superintendents last week, and I think what's important, and I think we all have our own personal story, is that I myself am one generation removed from a family of sharecroppers. My grandparents lived in Wilmington, Temple all their life. They never owned a piece of property. They never owned a home. And somewhere along the line, my grandmother decided that my father was going to go to high school and took on extra responsibilities to do that. He was drafted and And then after that, he was fortunate enough to get a GI Bill to be able to go to college. And I think the thing that we all have to think about is what our moral purpose is in changing lives in our county. And so you give a child a fish and he'll eat for a day, but if you teach him how to fish, then he'll never go hungry. There's a direct correlation between educational attainment and earnings. And we are trying in our community to improve our community by making good taxpayers instead of people who become dependent upon the tax system. And I think that our quality of education in our district speaks for itself, that we have more students learning at higher levels and having more opportunities than they've ever had before. Our seniors graduated just the other night, had over $3 million of scholarship money. About half of them had a 21 or better on their ACT, and over 80% were going to some type of post-secondary educational opportunities. Part 2 is our budget status. I think something that's really important here is in FY17 that we rolled over $144,760. So we were in the black in FY17. I think you need to know that. Last year, closeout numbers FY18, we rolled over $430,207. So that was a good year. FY19, we have one more month to go, and we are trying to look at those numbers closely. We estimate, which is really good, our budget started on July 1, about $780,000 in the red. And we estimate that we're going to be $350,000 in the good, in the black. So that's, I think, Mr. Ford, that's really good news that I bring to this body this evening. I think the key to that is that $134,000 was additional revenues. That we, as you know, we've collected more sales tax, property tax, local option sales tax, even about $500 more in drink tax, I think, this year. I knew that was going to be a big windfall for the county. Right. But I think, so of that, we balanced out about we estimate that we're going to balance out about $215,000, which is 2% of our operating budget, which is pretty close, but we estimate that we'll be in the black and think that's really good. That gets us to Roman numeral 3, and that's the budget narrative for this year. And I think this is really, 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 really important for everybody to hear, is the budget that we bring to this body is a status quo budget. It has no new programs, no new personnel, and no new expenditures. I would challenge or ask a rhetorical question, it may not be rhetorical, but I would ask the question, how many other agencies in this county will bring you a similar budget? No new expenditures, no new programs, no new personnel, a status quo budget. We are trying to do our part in helping the taxpayers of Trousdale County. But some things are important. Our cooks are only making $10.60 an hour. Our janitors, if you ever go in our buildings, they're immaculate. Those people are making $10.60 an hour. Our bus drivers are making $71 a day. We went all year short 1 and 1/4 of the year short 3. And we still need 2 drivers today. If you know anybody's interested, there's a big sign out there between the lights that says you can drive this bus. I got somebody grinning at me today. I know somebody's trying to help me in that, and I appreciate that very much.
How many hours do the bus drivers average a day?
I would say about 2.5. Some a little shorter, some a little longer. Yes. We have few of our personnel that want to take on coaching and extracurricular duties because it takes more time out of their day. and they're not adequately compensated in doing that. We know for a fact that our insurance will cost us in the neighborhood of $70,000 more. And what I'm trying to say here is I just don't think it's right to take funds from schools and from children and give it, at the same time, give it to other county agencies. If we bring you a status quo budget, and we don't ask for raises from our personnel, then we just want to be treated like the next guy. And if you're going to do that for other agencies, then we think we ought to have an opportunity at the table as well. But we're trying to do the best that we can to help manage this challenge that we have in front of us. The facts are we've started the education committee as early as November. We've had state finance talk to us. I won't chase that rabbit much longer, but it's an established fact that we're losing $429,000 for BEP funding in this upcoming FY20 budget. It's an established fact that we lost $300,000 in state funding last year. It's an established fact that we'll lose somewhere in the neighborhood of $600,000 plus in next year, FY20, and every year thereafter. And we must have a solution if we're going to have the success that we've had. Now, if you turn the page to page 2, and then I think it's imperative because you have to make decisions, is you need to know where our challenges are and what's going on here. In this budget, in FY20 budget, we'll have a capital outlays. That's going to change a little bit in the next budget we'll bring to you. But we've got about $211,000 to complete the elementary capital outlay project. We need about $140,000 to recoat and recertify our elementary roof. About $40,000 to replace middle school classroom doors. $35,000 to replace sidewalk out front of elementary school. And about $25,000 to strip and wax our elementary classrooms that haven't been touched in 4 or 5 years because of the construction projects that are going on. So our capital outlay for this year would be in the neighborhood of $450,000. And of course, we would take that from our fund balance. You know, we took the $300,000 to offset what we lost in VP last year. We took that out of fund balance. So that was a draw against fund balance. And then the work that we're doing at the elementary school now is a little over $1 million. That's a draw from fund balance. And then we have some dire upcoming needs. And we have got to put a roof on the middle school. We talked about that before. We need to put a pitched metal roof. Macon County has put that roof on all their existing buildings. Talked to the superintendent up there. He said that school is about the size of he named the school. And he said we spent $750,000. So that's just an estimated price. If you go to the high school parking lot, you see it's separated and that type of thing. There's some work we have to do there. If you hadn't been out 231 in a while, there's a lot of houses going on. We've got one bus that goes out there. It's not going to be much longer. We're going to buy a new bus and get another driver and extend the route. Now, hopefully we get by this year, but it's right along the horizon. At some point in time, we're going to have to replace the windows at the middle school. They are leaking, and a lot of them do not work to extend the useful life of that building. And then we've got a football stadium issue that's close to being condemned. And we brought an architect in here over a year ago, and he estimated somewhere between $1.5 and $2 million to fix it. Everybody's got a different idea on how to do that. You just got to get it fixed. We'll have to figure that out. And then part 5 is the current debt that you see every year that the Board of Education is paying $341,000, whatever their revenue, that's coming off the top, that they're paying the debt service. $55,000 to the high school, $166,000 to the heat and cooling system renovation at the middle school. The energy savings at all three schools. And then the county is paying $187,230 for the elementary HVAC system. You can see the dates when those are retired. And remember that there's a stipulation even on the county's portion is should CCA close, then the school board would have to pick up that payment. That was the agreement in that. So you can see that the school board is extended on about to the max. And
Ten
then,
years better than CCA.
I don't know.
I am.
That's exactly what he said, I'm betting on it.
I still got faith in them.
And then our SROs, and I think it's a good thing we've got SROs in our buildings. And of course, there's a $75,000 split, and those costs will increase as those salaries increase over the years. If you'll turn over to page 3, Mr. Ford is always excellent. He's talking about existing fund balance. So let's just clear that up. Is the Board of Education, as of the end of the month, had a little over $5 million in fund balance. The county had about the same amount in fund balance. The issue, the thing is that fund balance of $5.1 million on the county represents 77.5% of their operating budget. Where for the school district, that's about less than half of that, being about 30.7. So when you go through and you look at the summer payroll, the accounts payable, then we have available about $3.5 million of fund balance. 1.7 of that is restricted, and that's in all those restricted accounts there for you in the box below, leaving us $1,806,224 of expendable fund balance. So, if you take $500,000 out of that for next year for those projects, then that's going to bring us down here to about 1.3. So it's running that pretty thin. So then if you look at part 7, I won't spend a great deal of time on that. The Education Committee has been working on this since the first of the year. But all this is establishing the BDP, showing how that we're losing $429,198 in BDP funding over the past 2 years. So that moves us to page 4, which, before you go to 4, maybe, you might want to look at the bottom of page 3. It says above the minimum program. In FY18, the county was paying $582,000 above the minimum program. In FY19, $278,628. This year, it would be only $152,932 above the minimum program. Now, as you turn the page, Ms. Ford is really good. He understands BDP now. And that B stands for what, Mr. Ford? Basic, yes.
Barely.
That's barely. Barely. It doesn't mean best, but it means basic. And that is the minimum program that's required by law. It carries there's a state contribution and a local match based on the funding body's ability to pay. That used to be about 85% by the state, 15% by the county. When the prison gets in on the books and you're bringing in, somebody in here in this room could answer that, $1.7, $1.8 million a year. Once that gets on the books, then the comptroller can see that the county is more wealthy, and therefore its ability to pay has increased. And since the county's ability to pay has increased, then they're reducing how much they pay the state to the BDP. And that adjustment has been about 5%, which now, in this BDP payments one. So this year, The state contribution is right at 80%, and the county's contribution has gone to 20%. That shows the loss of the 429,000. So what does a minimum program look like in Trousdale County on page 4? The BEP funds 85.52 teachers. You ever seen 0.52 teachers walking around? And but you just have to get the salaries with them. So presently, we have 87.5 teachers. The BEP only funds for a half an assistant principal. I think you have to have 600 students in order to get a half a principal. That only happens at one of our schools, that being the elementary school. The BEP program does not pay for any extracurricular programs. There's nothing in there that talks about the basketball team, the football team, the cheerleaders, or anything like that. And so, therefore, I think, to me, is the star of the show has been and continues to be on what are the wishes of the commission as far as revenue solutions. And we've talked about, we've bounced those about, and, there's still a half cent on the local option sales tax. There's those impact fees was recently taken from the schools and sent somewhere else. There's a early discount on property tax that might be looked at. And then there's a property tax increase. And back in 17-18, when they did a reassessment and the prison came on, then we actually lost 17 cents. So I think those are the things. I think what's important is the budget that I gave Mr. Ford and Mayor Chambers is, it shows a $902,000 deficit. And I think, if we could get a little help, I think I could go back and, we're picking up $134,000 of revenue, and we save some money. And maybe I think we can go back and rework those numbers, and certainly, get that thing palatable, is what I'm saying. Now, I just got the teacher salary numbers yesterday and the day before. I haven't been able to work those. I think Amy sent out the certified tax rate this morning. Amy, I do think we lost $15,000 in that middle budget.
We gained. I think we actually gained some.
No, I'm talking about the schools. No. Well, I hadn't had time to look at that, but much. But what I'm saying is, I think there's an opportunity, but we're going to have some help, because if we're not, we're going to get our fund balance down to nothing, and we're going to have capital outlay issues. And the thing about it, when we keep our buildings in good shape, we don't have to build new buildings, and I feel like that's the right thing to do for our taxpayers, when we don't have to build new buildings. And I feel like that our elementary school has some room for growth. Our middle school has some rooms for growth. I think our high school does, and even that high school could be easily added onto. I just don't think we're going to have to build any new buildings for the foreseeable future if we take good care of the buildings that we've got. But we don't need to let them dilapidate. And I think that's a frugal, responsible thing to do. So if we can continue to work on those capital outlays, we can't do those capital outlays unless we, and you know this, y'all go to CTAS trainings just like I do. And when they talk about budgeting, you want to underestimate your revenues and you want to overestimate your expenditures. And then at the end of the year, if you got $200,000, $300,000 left, you build that in fund balance, and then when you have an unexpected disaster or something happen, then you don't have to raise taxes or go out and borrow money. It's the responsible, frugal thing to do. But if we can't get our fund balance down to near nothing and expect to be responsible to the taxpayer, is what I'm saying. So I just ask you not to kick that can too far down the road. I really think we can manage this if we can come up with a few revenue options, and I can get back and rework that budget, because that budget was made in April, and there's a lot of estimates. And we could get that thing a little closer, if that could be the wish of the board. And I haven't had an opportunity to explain this to the board, because I just got Angie in there today and gave her some time and locked the door and said, try to get us some numbers and estimate where we're going to be when we close out. And those numbers were very encouraging. Okay, so that's all I have.
You made a comment a while ago that I heard very carefully. You said if we could get some help. But you didn't say what kind of help or how much help. And we're in the same shape. We need some help too. We got a whole rough year looking at us, or the county does. And most all these commissioners sit here know about it. After this year, I believe the county will be in pretty good shape and can maybe expand. I'm not saying, tell us what kind of help you think you need.
Well, again, I need to get in there and run another budget. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because I know about, I'm on Facebook Live, and the Vidette guy's here. You say something and people hold you to it, and I need to be careful about that. But we're going to need some help, not to get that fund balance down to nothing. But it ain't 900 and something thousand anymore. Does that make sense what I'm saying to you?
I hope not.
Yeah, which is, but I need a little time, and I've got a school board meeting on June the 20th, and I can definitely have another budget to them by that time, and I'm sure the mayor would work with me between now and then to get something that's certainly a more palatable for everybody in the room.
Well, that sounds good, really. And Gary?
Why is a new bus route $113,000?
Well, for one time, that bus is going to cost you right at 100, and the bus driver is going to cost you about 13. So that's what it would be. But after that, it would be about $13,000 a year. However, our bus drivers need a raise. And again, I cannot overemphasize that and lose sight of that. If our janitors and our cooks are making $10.60 an hour, I was in Lebanon the other day at KFC, and you can go in there and make 11. They're taking applications and paying $11 an hour. Now, I guarantee you our people are better than the ones that they get working at Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Yeah, but the way you've got it figured here, bus driver's making right at $30 an hour.
He may be making that. Actually, he may be making more than that.
That's pretty good pay to drive the bus.
You can find somebody to do it.
Yeah, but the issue with driving the bus, here's what bus drivers tell me. Here's what bus drivers tell me. I'm all right. See, the agricultural society is diminished. But most of the time, our bus drivers 25 or 30 years ago, when we rode a bus, is they had farm. And they was milking or whatever. And then they got on the bus and they drove. And then when it got time to drive in the afternoon, they just stop what they're doing and come back and work. People don't work like that anymore. They don't mind driving in the morning, but trying to get them to stop at 2 o'clock to get on that bus and not get back to 4:30, that's a heavy lift to get people to do.
Yeah, but how many of your bus drivers already work in the school system?
About half of them, about 7 out of 14.
Mr. Jones,
Hey, I'm telling you now, hey, if you want to drive a bus, all you got to do is call that number. Because we went a quarter of the year without 3 bus drivers. And we didn't even run routes for two routes. We couldn't even run a route. The parents had to bring them themselves. And then we doubled 3 after that. And then we still are short 1 driver all year long. So we won't get any help with driving a bus until we adequately compensate. I think Sumner County and Wilson County drivers are making about $100 a day. Ours is making, I can tell you what ours are making. They're making $71.50 a day is what our bus drivers are.
Ms. Jones, you had your hand up.
A lot of those Sumner County ones in Wilson that were doing double routes, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what a double route feels like as a parent.
Oh, well, I know, yeah.
Okay.
Horrendous.
Yeah, because what happens is they have to wait at school until that first one drops them off, and then they come back after they finish that route about 4 o'clock, and they pick them back up at school, and it'd be sometime after 4 before they get let off. And on the front side of that, they have to get picked up about an hour sooner than the normal students.
Right. My question is, though, the capital outlay needs, have you thought about doing, making a box on that, doing community involvement instead of doing drawing from the front, maybe getting sponsors for the home games, or, you know,
Are you talking about like for the football stadium?
or for any of it? You know, for any of it, the elementary school, you know, maybe getting a more active PTO where they get money from the community, you know.
Yeah, PTOs do pretty good with selling cakes and pastries and things like that.
Well, I mean, I know when I was working in Suffolk County, that the elementary school I worked at, they bought new chairs for the auditorium. They bought new curtains for their, I mean, several hundreds of dollars worth. I mean, that would be.
And our support groups try to do that too, but maintaining the fiscal plant, the walls, the floors, the roof, I think that's a responsibility of the school district.
Well, I mean, it is, but to a certain extent, but I think maybe we could get the community involved with it too. Because, I mean, even like for the smaller ones, like for stripping the elementary floors, I mean, that's the small, the 25,000. I mean, I just think that it's part of, it is the school's responsibility, but it's the community's responsibility too.
Yeah, but my janitors, some of my janitors don't know how to strip floors well. There's some of them that do, but taking off that wax
Well,
and putting it back on is
Well, I'm not
a
advocating them.
skill set.
Right, I'm not advocating saying that they should do it. I'm just saying that maybe we should look for different avenues of revenue for those capital outlay projects.
Probably Sumner County, Wilson, they have a lot bigger.
Please raise your hand, or it'll be tough on you tonight. Speak up.
Probably Wilson County, Sumner County too has a lot bigger, larger schools and a lot more. They might get more funding from, you know,
Well, I mean,
with some of these, you might, you know, get some kind of funding, but
Most of the time,
but probably not that
PTOs,
large amounts.
that's my thing.
I know when the mayor, when I sat down and talked with you, he encouraged you on the specialist one, a football stadium. We take a look at getting some sponsors like CCA, Tri-County, and the banks, and some of these other people to try to help with that. But that's something that needs to be done immediately if you're gonna have money down the road to do anything with that.
Yeah, and as you know, we don't have any funding plans for a football stadium. We're just saying those are some things that's on the horizon that you just need to know about.
Okay, thank you. I said, Ms. Jones?
I'm just saying that they could use those sponsors for the smaller projects as well. We could get those. And each individual school had their own PTO. So the school that I was at had 400 or 500 students, but they did their own PTO. But I'm saying, like, say, the high school each student could pay, if they wanted to drive their car and park, they'd have to pay for it. That would be a source of revenue. I mean, it's a privilege to get to drive your car and park at the high school, I would think. But it might be something they'd be willing to pay for, you know. Closer you are to the front door, the more you have to pay for your parking spot. You know.
Mr. Kerr,
As probably the last principal that had an active PTO, I was fortunate to have one of the 5 years I was at the elementary school. A very good, I mean, they were very active, and they tried to raise money. They had fundraisers 2 or 3 times a year. And just to be honest with you, the best they could ever do was, you know, have a balance of $7,000, $8,000 in a year's time. I mean, now, we do have a new PTO, and everybody may not be aware of that, but there is a new PTO that was chartered this past spring, and it's for all 3 schools. And so, I don't know if anybody in here is a member of it, but I think the school system would certainly be happy if they would take on one of these projects and as a project, school-wide, system-wide project, and we'd be willing to work with them on that, I think, wouldn't we, Mr. Satterfield?
We would, but I think a lot of times, you know, from their charter and their goals,
They can only do so much.
yeah, they were focused on community involvement, student appreciation, some things like that.
yes, ma'am?
Yeah, just speaking about the PTO thing, is I think they do raise money for projects, and I was part of the PTO, and I think it's hard to, I think it might be hard to sell, to the community that we're selling, nothing but cakes to strip the floors. I think me as a parent might say, that's the school responsibility, kind of going back to what I agree with, they might get help with something, but something like the strip and wax and stuff, I think that is kind of a school facility responsibility to me, and that's as a PTO member and parent, so.
Well, you could put,
I was just going, all this new houses, how many students are we increasing? And increases BEP, you seen an increase in students in the schools?
I think the last time we were in an education committee, I think there was a net of 7 students, plus or minus 7 students from where we were in the prior year last year.
We don't let no process, we just picked up some students.
Well, I'm just saying that that's where they're, you can see the houses, and here's how the houses usually work. They get hitched, they buy a starter home, they have children, and about 5 years later, they enroll in kindergarten. So even though you may see starter homes going up right now, the enrollment will come to us, and these are the forecasts that you just need to be
Probably
aware of.
looking in 5 years too than we are going to be this year. It's a tough year this year.
Ms. Johnson?
I was just gonna say, there's still a lot of houses being built. There's just still out there.
Mr. Kerr?
Well, the thing you have to remember about us is, I think we all know the majority of the houses are being built in 231 corridor. And you can't just move a bus from, say, the eastern end of the county to the western end of the county, because those kids out in the eastern end still got to get picked up, even if there's not as many. So you can't really do that. But the main thing about the bus route down there is, it's an upcoming needs. It's a future thing. It's not something that we're having to worry about right now.
Yeah, here's what you guys stay focused on. We lost $300,000 of funding from the state last year. You're going to lose $429,000 this year. That's right at $750,000 in 2 years. You're going to lose in the excess of $600,000 next year and every year thereafter. The state has phased in this fiscal capacity responsibility so that the funding body can strategically phase in funding solutions. We didn't do anything last year. We have to do something this year to stop the bleed, or we're going to be down to 0 in 2 years.
Ms. Jones?
Well, one thing is, in October, all the local sales tax is going to be start collected. They said not to count on any of that revenue this year in our budget. True. But next year, we should have a good idea of what all we'll be getting for that. So that will definitely help. So that's, for next year's budget. So that will be an increase in revenue then. That's something, so that's something coming.
Yes, Mr. Dickey?
The question I have, how did it going to affect the school budget when they usually be popular, who's going to lose money when they used to be popular, it doesn't affect, I can't
Voucher.
The voucher will not directly affect Trousdale County Schools.
Not you.
The only thing, as a superintendent, what concerns me about the voucher system is the governor has elected to put $25 million a year into the voucher system, which I would have preferred that he put that in the BEP every year. That's the rub that I have.
In talking with David Connor at our last meeting in Gatlinburg, I said, David, your experience, what happens when they do that in a couple of places in the state? He said it expands. So they got the foot in the door, so a few years down the road, Trousdale County may be looking at it too. Maybe not, but I wouldn't be surprised.
But I think the key is that we're losing funding. We're going to continue to lose more funding. It's not going to disappear. And we have to strategically find solutions. And in the excess of $429,000, $600,000 a year. Now, how are we going to make that up? I don't think there's going to be one particular solution that will remedy the problem. We're going to have to take a combination of things.
And like this local option sales tax that you talk about, even if that 0.5% was passed, it can't be done in 2020. We don't have an election before then. But these are some of the things that we've looked at and talked about seriously. And I know that our backs are stapled heavily this year. After this year, there's no reason why we can't get in there and hopefully be able to help you considerably more. So I would encourage you to go back, take a good look at your funds and come back as realistically as you can. And one thing over here, now this right here, I don't know where this comes from. It's not right to take from schools and give to other county.
No, here's what I'm saying. It's on the back. It's exactly on the back of schools. Is when our people are making $10.60 an hour, and you've got other county agencies coming in and asking for raises and getting raises, and then you're not helping schools. You are doing, if you're not careful, that's the challenge I'm saying. If you're not careful, then you are robbing from Peter to pay Paul, and you're taking those opportunities away from our employees and you're giving them to others. And one of the things, I've been doing this a while, and is like yourself, and one of the things that we used to say to each other is, what's the difference between my bus driver and your dump truck driver? And you said, none. What's the difference between your custodians and my custodians? And they said, none. So the idea was, if those county employees get a raise, our people should get a raise as well. And that has usually been the angle that we have taken with that in the past.
How many cooks you got? You talking about?
About 14 or 15.
And you as a school board, couldn't you give them a little something?
We're losing $429,000 a
I'm
year.
aware of that, but that's this year. How come up?
We lost $300,000 last year.
But how come up in the lane you hadn't given nothing?
We have over the past few years. But we're just trying to stop the bleed. That's what I'm trying to say, that this is a status quo budget. No new,
We gave our
They got a
certified
raise.
raise in Mr. Carmen's last budget.
that's right. Yeah, it is a year or so ago.
The same that the county.
County got, everybody got the same
Right.
amount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But But what I'm saying is, I was in Kentucky Fried Chicken the other day, and you can go in and get a job at Kentucky Fried Chicken making $11 an hour. And we're bringing you a status quo budget with no new expenditures whatsoever. And what we're asking is, if other agencies come in here and ask for raises for their people, I want you to
Not this year.
consider ours.
Not this year.
Mr. Chairman, could I ask you a question, please? If I understood what you said, you're wanting the school system to come up with a figure that we can live on this year.
Well, that's what Ms. Sutfield said he was gonna do.
I know, and then, but if I heard you right, and then the county's gonna be in much better shape next year to be able to help.
It's much better.
If I'm understanding that right, you're saying that the county next year could come up with the $600,000?
I didn't say that.
Okay, because I mean, if we keep kicking it down the road, it's gonna continue.
We
to
got
cost.
3 or 4 things this year that's
I
not
thought I might have
reoccurring.
misunderstood.
They're not reoccurring,
Okay.
Johnny. And that's the
I understand.
difference right there.
No, I understand, I just thought that's what you said, and I wanted to make sure, because I didn't think that's what you meant.
No. Anyone else have anything, Commissioner?
I think the mayor told us a couple of weeks or so ago, the county's over $1 million in the hole now.
1.3.
So it's gonna be hard to get much when we're $1.3 million in the hole to give anybody. And the school system was supposed to have gotten a raise 2 years ago, the same thing that all the county employees got. We've got people out here working for $10 an hour.
All of this people.
You're facing some of the same challenges we are.
Yeah, we were real proud that we were gonna pay them $10 an hour a year or two ago.
So when do you think
Real
you
proud
can
of
get
ourselves.
back with us with a very realistic figure, an exact figure than where you are tonight? You said you needed some time on that.
Take 2 to 3 days.
Well, I think it's the best thing to do.
Thursday.
We got Thursday night already scheduled. Tonight, tomorrow night, and Thursday night. Might could work to do Thursday night.
I think I could probably get something more realistic.
Very good. Any other, the budget committee, got any questions for Dr. Satterfield? Larry, you got any questions? You're awful quiet tonight.
No, I'm sure he and I can talk about it after the meeting.
Okay.
Well, there were some assumptions thrown out that are not accurate. I'm not giving anybody a raise that I don't have to.
Right.
For statutory requirements.
Well, I didn't say anybody was getting a raise. I'm just saying, when that conversation comes up, I would like for you to keep our employees in mind.
Sure. Mr. Dick, you had your hand up?
Yeah, sorry, I'm figuring we give $10, but I'm anyway, what I'm getting the point here, when a driver in this county sees another county getting paid more, they're gonna leave this county and go somewhere else.
They do that a lot, but you gotta realize this county, if you take Macon County, for instance, gets 6 times as much sales tax as we do. You know how much Wilson County and Sumner County get compared to what we do? 7 months, we had a little over $500,000, they had 19 million. There's no way we can keep up with other counties. We gotta run Trousdale County and let them run the other county. And if in fact we fall a little behind them, hey, what are you gonna do about it? We need some retail sales out here. Bring in more tax money in Trousdale County. Yes, ma'am.
I was just gonna think of ideas.
Oh, yeah. That's the star of the show, is revenue solutions.
We have
That's what
to.
we've got to figure out.
That's where it's gotta come from. Yes.
If I understand right, Macon County, Smith County, neither one contributes to the school system.
They don't?
They have to. They can't get BEP funds if they don't.
From what I've been told from officials up there, they don't.
And you and I went up there and sat down with Smith County. What did that guy tell you? He did. Lenny told us that we don't get nothing from the county.
That's illegal. You've got a local match.
I don't know, but
It says in the BEP formula, it's got a local match, and if you don't get the local match, you don't get the BEP. If you don't believe me, don't pay your local match by October the 31st and see if we get any more money.
he told me that, I don't know how true it
I
is.
think probably what they meant, they're not giving anything above what.
It could very well
that
be that.
you think
But he told me he knew that for some reason. Any more questions, Dr. Satterfield? Well,
Is our teacher salaries pretty comparable now? We give you the raises last year, the year before, were they pretty comparable around the maintenance bill? We tried to get them and the sheriff's department up, hold to work. Where would they looking some money?
2 years ago, we gave each teacher $2,500. That don't mean every teacher got $2,500 more, some of, but anyway, yes, we're closer. We're not in the ballpark with Lebanon Special. Wilson and Sumner make more than our teachers do. There's no question about that. We have closed the gap a little bit. Matter of fact, 2 years ago, that was one of the things I had a chart, and I was showing you the separation between those salaries, and the goal is to try to close that gap. We have closed that gap, but here's the thing. Those counties continue to raise their teacher salaries as well. So if you go so many years and you don't address it, then that gap just continues to grow and you're back where you started.
now, one of the things we did too was up your starting teacher salaries.
Well, what we did was $2,500 across the board where everybody got the same thing is what we did. I think Ms. Waller has something.
Yes, ma'am.
Just, also, we've done a lot with benefits, and I think that's helped keep our employees, where we couldn't match that salary. We've really worked on benefits for our employees, non-certified and certified, and I think that's
Around
really.
health insurance.
Yes, health insurance, that's been a great thing for us, because we can't match salaries, but we can maybe do something like
I was going to
that.
ask you about that. Why is your insurance went up $70,000?
Well, I think it went up 3% for next year, 2.83%. Amy, what's the rate increase on that for next year? Okay, I think it's somewhere in that neighborhood.
I know
And then
our rates have
also, when we have new employees to come on. See, if we've got a young teacher, as long as they haven't turned 26, they can stay on their parents' insurance. But all of a sudden, when they kick 27, then they come on to ours. And then all of a sudden, another is all of a sudden she's single or he's single and they get married and they have a child, then they go to a higher plan. So, who comes on, what plan they choose, and then the rate increase can all fluctuate the health insurance. But usually what's going on more than anything is more people are joining the plan.
Any other questions for Dr. Satterfield?
I cannot say, but one more time, is our budget is a status quo budget. There's no new funding, no new personnel, no new program, no raises. We're trying to be as frugal and responsible on our end as we can. I ask that you recognize that in making your decisions. Thank you, Mr. Fuller. Appreciate your
You're
time.
welcome. Thank you. Who's going to be next?
It's up to you, Mr. Chairman. There's Highway Department and Debt Service. Debt Service should be quick.
Yeah, we'll take 4 or 5 minutes.
Couple of them
Let's
expired.
try to get back quicker though. We've got a lot to do.
Debt service would be the quicker one to get through.
We'll do it quick.
Yeah, I think so.
They said you had to figure what that accent would be.
You go back and look at what it's been, that year, or a couple of years ago. Had been in place as long as you couldn't have. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If it would have amounted to, I think, over $600,000. But I think.
I remember that.
What'd you think about that? That showed that, yeah, 41%.
There's a bunch of them that are getting hit.
I forgot if it was cost adjusted. I think it was like 59 cents was what that they were looking at.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay. I remember
Clay County, if they don't do something, they're gonna have to declare bankruptcy. I mean, they're seriously thinking about
Did you see
it.
that?
They're millions in the hospital.
And Montgomery County was looking at 31.
I'm surprised if they give it to Clay County.
Hamilton County too, I think. You said where else too? 41%.
Is that 41% or 41%?
41%.
That's where they at. They may have been so low, too low, that they used everything up. Running it down, and all of a sudden, we've got to make
They were really upset because it was on the actual paper, but not on online. So they felt like they were being sent. I think that's hilarious.
There's a story behind that. I'll feel you later.
Okay.
You can do debt service next.
You can if you want, it'd be quick and easy, you can do it now, or you can do it.
Let's do debt service next.
I'm gonna go ahead and hand out some of the commissioners, this is the county's debt schedule. I'll just sit there.
Thank you.
Any other commissioners on this? The chairman.
Can you do those? Football stadium, can you do it? If we want to. They don't let you vote.
You could.
I know that, I know that, they don't.
You can't change what's there.
I know that's what this is made of.
Yeah.
He'll have to be voted on, but the county court can do it. You know, what's the name, Mark tried to get us to do it last year.
I still think they don't do it.
Well, that's true. You need to fall back on 38% of the people.
I think it, put it to the right thing and pass.
So we're ready, everybody, I think's back. Go ahead, Mayor.
All right, for the 151, if you look at the debt schedule I handed out, pretty much their expenditures as we're going through this proposed next year follows exactly what the principal and interest are due. We're not deviating from the debt schedule, so exactly what's on the schedule is what we're proposing to fund. If you look at our current tax that we're figuring to put into it, our proposal is for property tax is $407,611. We're looking at a discount on property tax for people taking advantage of the 2% discount, about $4,014. $5,000 in trustees collection for the prior year, $2,000 for clerk and master's collection for the prior year. Then interest and penalties come in at $1,500. So we're proposing $411,097 in county property tax to go into this fund. And for local option taxes, we're proposing for litigation tax. There's actually nothing in that one. And then for the litigation tax, litigation tax special purposes, nothing there. And then for litigation tax jail or workhouse proposing, we're looking at about $30,000 estimated revenue there, about $2,500 for business tax. So county local option taxes, we're looking at about 32,500. Total local taxes going to this, 443,597. That'll actually be a decrease of 45,755 from last year. And we're looking at some other revenues coming in. We've got for other open revenue, investment income of 5,000. Contributions, so this is pretty much coming in from the schools to pay for the qualified school construction bond. The principal on that's 159,450. And then some transfers in. This is coming in to pay the interest on the QSCB, so the qualified school construction bond. It's 146,087. So total revenues for that fund we're proposing is 754,134, which overall be a reduction from last year of 42,317. And you want to go through each debt one by one, or you want to go through just total? How would the committee prefer to do that?
I think it'd be good if they were familiar with this debt. If you don't mind, go through them one by one.
All right, if you look on, should be page 2 of the 151 General Debt Service Fund budget.
All right, Jack. What page is that on, Mike?
Should be, if you look in the top left corner, it says 151 General Debt Service Fund, and then at the bottom right corner, it should say page 2.
It's right after the school's budget.
How far is it down in there? I ain't found it yet, man.
It's towards the back. It should be right after the school budget.
We don't make that.
Says state E.
Yeah,
There's
state
three at
E.
the top.
Think of that.
So then on page 2, the first section says principal on debt, and it says general government debt. The first one you're going to find as you go down should be, as far as has the number out next to it, should be administration building. 82-110-602, and it's an ADMN. If you look over proposed 2019-20, it's $64,000. Again, if you refer back to the debt schedule, that's exactly what the principal due is for the next fiscal year, is $64,000. There were some patrol cars that went to the sheriff's department. That amount was originally $222,000. The next amount due, according to the debt schedule, is $45,800. So I'm proposing to pretty much follow the debt schedule on all those. And then a solid waste front end loader is the principal due of $20,600. Solid waste roll off number 2, principal due is $31,000. That's actually about $1,000 more than some of the debt schedule, but it's kind of right there. Then County Justice Center, Criminal Justice Center, $74,000 according to the debt schedule, and also we're proposing $74,000. So total of that for principal on those is $235,400. The next section down is for education. There's 2 loans in there. The one is the EESI. Again, following the debt schedule is $113,000 due on that. And then the qualified school construction bond. The debt schedule, according to this, is $157,432, and that's what we're proposing, but that's also offset by money coming in from the school system to pay for that. So total education, we're proposing to spend on the education debt is $270,432. So the total principal on debt due we're proposing is $505,832. And again, that's pretty much sticking with the debt schedule as far as the payoff schedule we agreed to when we took these loans out. And then the next section down below that should say interest on the debt. Again, we're kind of following the debt schedule on these. The administration building, it's going to be $11,000 in debt and interest due on that. Patrol cars, we're proposing $1,741. The solid waste front end loaders, $2,561. The solid waste roll off number 2 is $1,558. And then on the County Justice Center, $48,180. So total, we're proposing to spend on interest on debt $65,040. And then go down, the next one should be interest on education debt. Again, this is the energy efficient school initiatives. Interest on that $72,900. And then for the qualified school construction bond, it's $122,316. And again, that is offset money coming in from other sources. So total education interest on debt, we're proposing $195,216, and total interest on debt for education and just the general debt is $260,256. And again, that is pretty much falling right in line with what the debt schedule proposed. We just pretty much put those numbers in here.
Any questions on that? If you look at it closely, the county is not that much in debt. We'll get rid of the school debt if you look up on May of 22, so that will help.
And then I'll move on to, there is a third page, so I'll move on to that one. I'm sorry, I should have waited completely to the end, but I want to cover it as we go through on that. Next one should say other debt service, general government. Pretty much only 2 there. One of them's the trustees commission, and that's $10,000. And other debt service on the county justice center is $4,100, so we're proposing there. Under that section is $14,100. And then some other debt service on the education debt for the EESI is $5,350. For the qualified school construction bonds, $2,020. So for the total education on that, $7,370. So total debt service, as far as these goes, $21,470. Total expenditures for all the 151 proposed is $787,558. And we're proposing revenue $754,134. So that would be a deficiency of $33,424.
Any questions on any of that?
Is there any of these small amounts we could pay off?
I would propose if we're going to pay them off, it'd be better to look at paying them off next year than it is this year, looking at everything we've got ahead of us this year. We've got the streetscape, the home grants coming out, the landfills coming out, and some of these other things. I think if we get through this next fiscal year, I think this is a very abnormal year. If we get through that, I think we'll be back to a normal then. I think we could certainly look at paying some of those off at that time.
All those are non-recurring. We'll get them out of the way when we look at them no more. Any questions? Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
I guess we'll move on to Mr. Bill. I can find you. guess we're ready for you, Mr. Bill.
We'll take it, yeah. Ours is pretty much the usual budget, other than we put a line item in from the improved tax money for equipment purchases. We got several pieces of equipment, it's 40 years old or older. If you have an accident, one of them out on the highway, the lawsuit would be way more than what it would cost to pay to replace the equipment, because I'm not planning on buying nothing anytime soon. And other than that, we have got a 3% raise in ours, so. But I got over half my staff only gets to work 9 months out of the year, don't get a penny of insurance, and makes $12 an hour, so. But they only get to work 9 months out of the year, so. That's kind of who I'm putting in, you know, trying to help them out a little bit, but be fair to everybody else, you know, I would be willing to pull that out this year. I might have to send them to ask some of y'all, you know, how come I pulled the money out, pulled that little amount of money out of them, but they don't, over half of mine don't get a penny of insurance or nothing. They get paid most of their time, their check's about $1,400 per month, and they only get 9 months, so.
Did you give them a raise last year?
Yeah, 3 last year, didn't we? Yeah. Of course, now last year, the insurance took more, well, it didn't hurt the part-timers, it didn't hurt them because they don't get insurance, so.
Commissioner,
How many part-timers are you talking about?
About 13. Yeah. The highest one gets $12.63 an hour, and they gotta have a CDL license, and they had to pay $50 a year out of their pocket just to keep their CDL license.
How many full-time it does get year-round pay out there?
10. Yeah. And all of them been, other than the mechanic, all of them been there 25 plus years, you know, so they're dedicated employees, so. But other than that, you know, like I said, we put a line item in for what's coming in this next year out of the improvement bank. We're gonna start a line item to save up money where we can eventually replace some equipment. It ain't gotta be immediate, but,
your 30%, is that for everybody or just the part-time?
that'd be for everybody. Like I say, it's coming out of my, it would come out of my state money, you know, anyway.
Much more state money did you get?
How much we getting this time, Peggy?
We're getting an estimate of
No, the other day.
$1,727,000.
How much in excess did you get for less? Out of gasoline tax?
When we looked at Gatlinburg the other day, they didn't have no set numbers yet, so I couldn't tell you, they had never got it estimated at that time.
Yeah. Just from what I have estimated on the budget, it's only like, 100,000 more.
Like I say, I'll be willing to pull the raise to be fair to the other employees. So, you know, it ain't gonna make me too popular, but I'd bear the burden and go on with it, you know,
We
run with
ain't
it.
giving
So,
raises nowhere else, I don't know how we could support giving one to your guys.
well, mine would be out of my own state money.
Well, I know you're,
Yeah.
I'm talking about the other one.
When Rodney Carmichael was the highway official, he said, you give it to them if you want to or not. But I said, well, if they're not gonna give anybody else one, I'll be willing to pull mine for a year or two. So, plus the insurance is not going up right this. So if my full-time has got insurance, you know, they'll still be taking the same money home, which, you know, give them a 3% last year, and they took less money home in their paychecks. So a raise when you take less money home ain't nothing. It's hefty on the insurance, so. But,
You have a question, did you?
Yeah, who's the clerical personnel for 9745? Who's your clerical personnel?
That's a part-time person.
part-time, yeah, part-time.
So
He works 16 hours a week.
That is estimated high because I never know when I'm gonna be out of office.
Peggy has to be off going to class. He
Who
works
does
off
that? Who's it?
Jay Showalter. He was a parts man and handled up the gas and all that at the shop. So when he retired, we was going to hire part-time, and hard to find somebody that only wants to work 16 hours a week.
So that more or less fills in when she's out.
He works 2 days.
He works 2
He
days.
works 2 days. Helps Peggy do invoices and all such as that, and handles gas. He still handles the gas stuff, don't he? Yeah.
Any other comments from other commissioners?
Most highway departments has got 3 secretaries, not the road superintendent, they got 3, about every road in the state's got 3 full-time secretaries, and all them make like $20 to $25 an hour, so.
Are we putting any of this local money going into his budget, or is it all state money?
We gave them 100,000 2 years ago, we had to keep it up, keep the state from cutting.
We've
Yeah.
got
And last year,
budget for.
I'm just
In
asking
2
how much,
years, I
how
think.
much is
last year, the,
2 years,
200,000?
Well,
right.
there's 100,000 that goes to the county, and then there's 100,000 that's in the urban services that we give to do town.
So only local money that's in your budget is $200,000.
yeah.
And you're
Yeah,
not,
and 100,000 of it can only be used in
right,
town.
and you're not asking for an increase on that.
No, no.
Okay.
No, I give up, actually last year, Carol asked me to give up money, so he said I was supposed to be getting 30 more thousand last year, and I told him that since they was giving raises to everybody, that I'd give up that 30,000, so really I got short at 30,000 last year that nobody else did, so. I told him it was gonna help give raises, I was definitely in for it, so. But I appreciate what we get, but, you know, it,
The 100,000 we give you was for asphalt.
yeah, and striping, yeah. Well, from doing $200,000 a year for paving to almost $500,000 now, so.
How many more miles of road have you got that's not paved now?
About 3.
I knew it was.
We got 2 more, we done 2 more this time, so.
So when do you think they get those little through?
I'm hoping to be done with them before fall comes around, we won't have to worry about them through the winter. Well, we will have to salt them in, so. You'll have to salt them in, now we, hot mix has jumped again, so now we're talking about 85 to 90,000 a mile just to do a mile of hot mix. So that's on 18-foot road, that's not on a gravel road.
Right. You had any idea when you gonna try to take care of that thing up on Gravel Hill we've been talking about? for
We done the
10 years?
pavement the other day, but I'm gonna have to let bids on it because Johnny Hawkins said he would do it for 30, but I talked to another boy and he said he wouldn't even look at it for less than 60, and Johnny Hawkins said he could do it for 30, but I gotta let bids on it to do it, you know, I gotta bid it, so,
Is that the guardrail?
yeah.
Up there on that, where we talk about the guardrail, they're afraid if they drive those pilasters in the end, that it'll push that off. So what they've come up with is putting a concrete wall down through there.
Concrete walls.
And it may be cheaper than the other anyway.
Yeah, they said 50,000 to do the guardrail.
So it's cheaper.
Johnny said he would do the concrete for $3 and, well, it's he's gonna do 300 foot for a little under 30,000, so.
Are they gonna tie that in anyway?
Oh,
so-
yeah, yeah, it's gonna be drilled down.
Right.
Of course, you don't have to drill a hole like
Right.
his where them, but the guardrail man, he was gonna give me a letter. He said he wouldn't even touch it. He said, get up there and start driving and your whole crew and your truck, everything goes off in that holler.
Actually, I think what you come up with is better than the guardrail.
So we got some rocks in there big as that desk when the big flood washed out, we rebuilt it. We got rocks in there bigger than that desk. There's no way to drive a guardrail post through them, so. But yeah, we done repaved it, so.
I'm glad to
yeah.
see you getting on that.
Yeah, yeah, we just gotta get some specs drawn up to advertise it, so. But yeah, everybody else I talked to, I told them just roughly what we had, and they said 60 to 75,000 to do 300 foot, so Johnny said he could do it for probably a little under 30, so.
Any other questions from Bill?
I just about the equipment, are you got any, looking at any equipment you gotta buy the next few years, or this, I mean, everything in good shape?
Probably gonna have to get some mowing tractors the next few years, because they're 15 years old, and You can wear out a mowing tractor. Most counties, buy new every 5 years, so ours is 15 years old, so of course we can't hire nobody, I can't get nobody to work, so we got 2 mowers running, I can't hire nobody to work. They said they don't want to work, if it's hot or dusty, they don't want it.
You got no air conditioner on?
No, that's what all of them said, they want air conditioning. I said, I run one for 4 years when I first started with the county, and it was a 140 with a belly mower. And I said, it didn't hurt me, and I'm sure them y'all got now, like Cadillacs compared to what I had. And I said, they didn't hurt me then, I don't think it's gonna hurt you now to eat a little dust, so.
Any more questions for Bill?
Well, if you've got the money in your budget to pay a raise, and you're not gonna give your people a raise, what are you gonna do with it?
Well, it'll stay in there, so it just roll in the fund balance.
So it's not gonna cost the county any more money to give your people a raise, but we're not gonna let you give them a raise.
Yeah.
I'm not in favor of
I'm not
that.
asking for nothing from the county to do a raise.
If the money's there and he wants to give his people a raise, and it's not gonna cost us more in taxes, he should be able to give his people a raise.
Yes, ma'am.
It seems like each department in the past have felt that they wanted to give their employees raises. And some department gets it and some don't. And I'm kind of like, with the why, I mean, this is my opinion, but I mean, if they got it in the budget and I'm not asking for any more, I mean, that's.
Speak up.
Sheriff, he rolls his money back into the, he won't spend all his, he rolls it back into the general fund balance or whatever. I think.
He's moving simple.
We look this to have enough to get by here, all the costs on equipment, paving and, tackle used to be a quarter a gallon at $3.75 a gallon, and you put down $1,500 worth in 2 days or a day and a half easy, so.
I think we're losing sight of how much a 3% raise is to these people. You're probably talking about $10 a week
Yeah.
to these people.
Roughly $8 to $10.
I'm serious. I mean, it's not like they're getting, it ain't gonna raise their standard of living. They're not gonna buy a new car. I mean, it is not a raise. It's a cost of living adjustment.
Yeah.
It just kind of keeps them at status quo. You talk status quo, oh, you won't talk status quo. But if you're not giving people a little bit of an increase, you're in effect making them go backwards. And if he's got the money in his budget to do it, the sheriff's got the money in his budget to do it, or Dr. Satterfield can find the money in his budget to do it, we need to take care of these people. For a lot of years, we've had a lot of people working in this county at substandard raises or substandard wages for the jobs that they do. And we finally, over the last few years, have got that in a little bit better shape, and I just don't want to see us go backwards. I just don't want to see us go backwards. And it's getting harder every day for these men and women that are trying to hire these people to get good people and keep good people, because you want a job like what we was talking about. You can bus tables now for $10 to $12 an hour. They'll hire you $12 an hour to bus tables at a restaurant and never have to do a drug test or any of that stuff that we throw on them either. So we can't, I know we're in a budget crunch. I know we have some big expenditures, and I know people think that we don't need to be even thinking about giving raises. I'm not on that page. I'm not on that page. I don't care if we do have to raise taxes a little bit in some way or another. I think a small amount is just keeping them at an equal amount.
This is really Bill's decision, but we can't tell him how to spend his money.
Yeah, our boy the other day went through the drug testing and physical and everything. He come work 5 hours and never did come back. He got a $56 check, and I don't know how many,
spent more than that on
couple of $100
projects.
getting hired, then he applied, well, he got rained out at lunch and he never did come back, so.
I've heard a lot of them said they'll get a drug screen and never get there.
Well, that's happened to us
I
too.
They are bunch.
mean, you've had that too.
My part-time leaving on rainy days, they get sent home on rainy days without paying too, so if we hit a rainy streak, they may miss three days out of the week, not even get a check for 3 days out of the week, so. If it gets, real drastic, I'll put them hauling rock or something, try to keep them working, because I know they can't stand to miss 3 days out of the week, Like somebody saying a while ago, none of them farmers anymore, all of them just work there and do odd jobs, ain't no farmers around no more like it was when I first started working out there. And back then, all of the farmers worked at the highway department just where they'd have a job when they wasn't in the field doing something, so.
Any other comments? No more comments? Well, I guess, in essence, it's left up to you.
I appreciate it.
We don't tell you how to spend your money, we can't tell you how to spend it, all we can do is pass your budget.
If I can tell you, I'm as big a penny pincher as there is in the county, so.
I know that.
They can tell you that, 'cause we get ready to do anything, I shop around and beg, steal, and borrow to get discounted rates, or like when we done the paving over here at the football field for Creasy before he left. It's about $15,000 worth of hot mix, and I got LoJack to let him have it for $3,000. So I ain't afraid to beg, steal, or borrow from them if they'll work with me. So
Is that it? Any more questions for Bill? We thank you for
all
coming.
right, yes sir. Get the ball practice now. So. That's all of it. I'm supposed to be there at 7, so I gotta get the ball practice.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I have one other thing. Mr. Thomas pointed out to me, I forgot to go over the education debt service, which will be Fund 156. It should be the one immediately after 151. Basically what this is the debt on the high school. And it's one page. Should say statement E2 at the top right.
So page 1,
Yes, sir. There's only one page to it.
Said E what too?
E2, yes, sir. Again, this is the debt on the high school, so as far as the local option taxes coming in, that's the wheel tax. We're proposing revenue there of $345,000. The impact fees were moved out last year somewhere else, so there's no provision for that in this one. So local taxes there is $345,000 total. We're looking at some proposing investment income of $3,000. There is a line item for contributions, that's $55,000, and that's a contribution coming from the school system to help pay some of the interest on the debt. And so for the total revenues, we're proposing $403,000. The principal due under the debt schedule is $568,000, and the interest is $88,400. And again, $55,000 of that is offset from the schools donating or putting in a contribution to help cover that. So total education debt service, we're proposing $656,400. Also looking at $4,500 going through the trustees commission, and there's other debt service of $16,000. So for other debt service, they're looking at $20,500 for a total expenditure of $676,900. So a deficit of $273,900, which our fund balance of July 1st should be $675,232. And June 30th, 2020, it should be $401,332. And there's, right below that, there's the remaining debt schedule for the school. As you see, on May 25th, 2022, the final payment is due on that, so that debt should be retired on that, at that date.
Any questions? What's next?
I believe that's-
Yes,
ma'am.
What are your thoughts about going from a variable to fixed rate on some of our loans? Do you have an opinion?
I would rather save that for the regular budget hearing with the Budget Finance Committee.
Okay.
Because tonight's just for the budget hearings, and that's a matter that's before it on the regular committee dates.
Good. What we got next, Mayor?
I think that's it for tonight.
Go home with. Thank you all for coming. What do we got tomorrow night, Lee?
Should be the sheriffs, I think the local elected officials, and there's one more thing that escapes me right now.
Emergency services.
Emergency services. Burgers, Miss Crowder.
Motion to Bubba to adjourn, and second to Mr. Harris, and everybody say aye.